What's up, Lions fans? On this snowy Sunday here in the great state of Michigan. Man, we enjoyed the victory against the Cowboys, but now it's time to get laser focused because our next matchup is even tougher and more of a threat and probably threatening to win the entire NFC, and that being the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford in LA. It's going to be tough. This is definitely going to be a tough matchup to try to keep them under control, trying to keep Matthew Stafford from shredding us in the secondary. And there are certain ways that the Detroit Lions have to do things to make sure that that doesn't happen. Let's talk about it.
Hey, keep paying for gas.
All right, quick revisit from last game, right? I just want to talk a little bit about the trenches, right? We did an excellent job on the defensive side. I'm probably sure everybody knows that. But during my assessment, when I took a look at guys like Cologne, when I took a look at guys like Frazier, I got two different sides of the scale. With Cologne, it was more of him being, pushed back at times, allowing guys to bull rush, causing pressure up the middle of the pocket. Making Jared Goff move more than he wanted to, even though we had a pretty solid game protecting him. You just wanted to see a little bit better from that position. When Frazier got in the game, I noticed immediately that the offensive line looked a lot better. And, he had a couple of false starts, but just being a big, powerful human being that he is, man, I think, his ability to latch on to guys, man, is going to help us out a lot. I think as this thing progresses, it's going to get better and better. Man, it really sucks that we're not getting Ragnow, because that would have been the final piece to shore up this offensive line as we go on this run. But, looking at that game in general, Dan Campbell really did a really good job orchestrating that game, man, and just making the right moves at the right time, right play calls at the right time. So we have to keep that same thing going, maybe even more this next matchup, because the Rams are a powerful offense. Statistically, you will look at the Cowboys and say, yeah, well, they were the top offense. But the danger when it comes to matchups, and this is why, I don't use stats as much in scenarios, because they don't tell you everything. What the stats are not going to tell you is how they match up offensively against our secondary. And our defense is middle of the pack. It's not like we're a terrible defense, but we're inconsistent. We're wildly inconsistent when it comes to rushing the passer. I noticed at, the post game.
Defensively, 3 sacks, 3 total tackles in a big way.
Coaches challenge us, and that's what you do when the coach challenges you.
The post game in the locker room, that Muhammad said a specific thing, and it was that, the coaching staff had put them up to the challenge, and they took the challenge. I need those guys to have that mindset every single week. Coaches shouldn't have to put you up to a challenge. Every single time you go on that field, it should be violence. It should be violence, man. We have to get a pass rush. We're just constantly losing guys. Prayers up for Brian Branch and this Achilles situation. It sucks. But next man up. We'll see what happens with Kirby Joseph. He can get back, but yeah, we have to go out every single week with that type of mindset on that defensive line and just be nasty. We got to produce. We need sacks. We need to get home. Pressures are one thing, and I'll take pressures. But with Matthew Stafford, you have to get him on the ground. If you want him to throw you some of those picks or those pick sixes, you have to be in his face. You have to be able to touch him. And if you don't, he's going to beat you. So, and this is how we beaten him in the past, and we have to do that. Matthew Stafford is a absolute magician right now. Even though he threw 2 picks last game, when you look, if you watch that game, the picks was some inadvertent picks going on, but deflection type things. But like I said, we just have to make sure that he doesn't come and have a master class against our defense. And it's in LA, and it's a big game, and I'm probably sure he wants to get the monkey off his back to finally beat the Lions. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be motivated, and we got to keep his receivers under control. I'm not necessarily worried about their running game, but their receivers, we have to keep them under control. Now, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, they have a pretty solid defense, but not good enough to stop the Detroit Lions. Again, the Detroit Lions are the only ones that can stop themselves when it comes to the offense. They're the only ones that can stop themselves. If we don't protect Jared Goff, we're in trouble. If we do any amount of a halfway decent type of game that we had last game, I think we'll be fine. Jameson Williams obviously is going to be used more in the offense, and he's continuing to take that offense to a newer height, different level, because of the threat of him and the defenders that he pulls away just from running his routes, but bringing him across the middle on shorter routes and letting him get free, things like that, throwing those screen passes to him, it changes the dynamic. And not only that, but with Jahmyr Gibbs, when you're throwing the ball at him out the backfield, it makes you even more dangerous. And now that we've been consistently doing that, it just changes the face of the offense. We don't have Laporta, we don't have certain guys, so we need to be able to use those guys. And with that ability, we free up guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown to slice and dice when he can. So, like I said, just be strategic. Continue to use guys like Tesla. People are not paying attention. And I think we'll be fine, man. Run the football. If it's not working up the middle, then you got to get it to Gibbs in the pass game. And you got to bring in Montgomery a little bit more. It's simple. It's very simple for us to put up points against this team. But it's up to us if we want to do that the correct way. So, tough matchup, man. And I am really, really looking at the Rams on tape right now. And there's opportunities there. I'm just, I want to be confident in my coaching staff is that we take those opportunities and that Shep continues to mix things up and disguise things instead of just being in cover one and single man high type of situations, which kills us. If we would have made this adjustment 4 or 5 games ago, we'd probably having different conversations about some of those outcomes because we allowed offenses to get off on us simply because we wanted to be boneheaded and stubborn and not switch up things and make adjustments. So that's a plus and a positive for me, for my defensive coordinator, that Shep listens. He listens, obviously he heard all the buzz and everything else. And it's not just, I'm not saying he's listening to me or us little guys, but even on mainstream media, some of the same things, even on TV, the commentator, like I said, even with Tom Brady, you can't run cover one all game. Can't do that, man. So, I know you're trying to, you're trying to get to the quarterback, but you got to put your defensive line to the test. You're paying a lot of money to certain guys like Hutch. You got to get there. You got to get there. Simple, plain, flat out. You have to get there. You have to be Micah Parsons. You have to be the poor man's Myles Garrett. You have to be that because we're paying you to be that. And his counterparts, they got to do the job, man. Al-Qadim Muhammad, you can't have a showing like this and then go missing for another 4 games. We need you guys every single game. Davenport did pretty well, actually, when I watched the film. Him and Aiden Hutchinson had a lot of these. They're right there But, like I said, Dak Prescott got the ball out, and it is what it is. But they created enough pressure to make him miss passes, to make him, be uncomfortable back there. And that's what it's all about. You got your supporting cast behind you. Jack Campbell and Anzalone, Derek Barnes, those guys, they're going to do their job, especially Jack Campbell. Don't worry about that. You need to worry about getting to the quarterback. I don't need you dropping back this game. I don't need that hutch. Get to the quarterback. Stand up a few times. I really wish you would start back doing that, because in college you were a beast every time you stood up. Mix it up. Switch different sides. I noticed that also on film. That we just haven't been doing as much with him. I don't know what that was about, but moving around different parts of the line. You see, that's what you see Garrett, and that's what you see Parsons do. And I'm going to continue to compare him to those two, because that's the type of money that he's making. You made him that guy, so he has to be that guy, and he has to produce. So put pressure on Matthew Stafford. Try to do as much as you can to keep the offense, down a little bit, because you're not going to completely stop him. But if you do, I'll be very impressed. But yeah, I think we can come out with a victory in LA. Like I said, every game for us is a must win. It's a must win. So with that said, leave it in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And I hope you guys watch football today, because we need a little help from other teams too. The Green Bay and the Packers game is also going to be something that every eyeball is going to be watching. But we need help from other spots too. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoy Football Sunday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.